we're back.
Oui.
This is episode 11.
West Coast bias. There you go.
All right. Topic number 1 is...
America. La télévision. No, la émission de télévision. That might not be right.
America,
the TV show.
The TV show.
There you go. This is why I'm Franglais. So... Has anybody been paying attention to the upcoming election south of the border?
Probably.
Yeah. We skipped reviewing Donald Trump's, Donald Trump and Joe Biden's first take at the debate stage. That was interesting to say the least.
It was funny.
Yeah.
It did not seem... It at this point, it's like a reality TV show.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, it has been for a long time, but it's just that it's not an episode. It's just every day, constantly, every day, through Twitter, through Instagram, through all the news media outlets. There's always something going on about Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
I don't know if I'm surprised by how it went. It's actually exactly how I expected it to go. What I have found most entertaining is America, and I guess at this point, I think we should always judge reactions to American politics on a continental scale versus just how the U.S. feels, since we're not actually Americans, but we pretty much understand their discourse very, very well, since it's kind of driven home to us on a daily basis for our entire lives. But it was just watching people's reactions to what happened when exactly what happened is what one could have only expected. 2 old 70-plus-year-old white men fighting about basically having a dick measuring contest about
see whose is smaller.
Yeah, or who's more suburban, who's done this, who's done that, who's an asshole, who's not, who's smart, who's dumb. It was like they progressed to a point where they only now decline in mental ability. It's the point where they're like school children. Their command of speech, their ability to take turns, their ability to have composure. It's comical. It's fucking hilarious.
I think what the presidential debate really highlighted for me, even though we already know this, is how polarized perspectives are in the U.S. You're either Republican or Democrat. You're either something or something. The white, black, the immigrant, non-immigrant. It's always like 2 things. There's never a spectrum of different ways to approach things that are accepted. There's always 2 opposing, not even 2 complementing. There's always 2 opposing views to everything in America. And they wonder why they're divided. It's because they don't allow for any other perspectives to fulfill the gaps in between. And if you are in the gap and you're not patriotic, you're un-American. So then they put you in the category of the go back to your country. Mm-hmm. So it's like you can't really win there if you're just trying to live your life outside of politics. And the sad part is that country is so driven by politics, even if you're not political. Yeah,
I think even though it's obvious, if the politics of the 2 extremes Venn diagrammed ever so slightly, because at this moment they do not. If you believe something in this bubble, there's nothing about the other bubble that will correlate towards you being able to participate in either bubble. You're either in one or the other. There's no middle ground. And that lends to the ability to not even have to answer questions in a factual way, because there's no shared knowledge to be able to fact check on an immediate basis. You have to just kind of believe or hope or just not believe in general, which lends to nothing ever being concretely discussed or understood.
Which is why I do think, because as somebody pointed out, I can't remember what publication or where this is pointed out, there's no prerequisites to be the president. Theoretically, anybody can run for president. And so I do think that they should put in stuff like You've got to have a law degree. You've got to know, like, why would you have somebody in office who doesn't understand the law, who is responsible for creating, amending, reviewing, upholding the law, and you were never a lawyer, you never studied American law, you don't know the intricacies, you don't know precedented law, you don't know previous cases. How are you supposed to run the... And then on top of that, like I think that should be a prerequisite. Yeah. Understanding the law of the country in which you live and the context around it. So having some training in like American history, not necessarily a history degree, but what is the American history? What is the full American history? Not just the white American history. Mm-hmm. What is the Black American history? How do immigrants play their role in building America and becoming part of America? What are all these things? So all of these facets of education and working experience should be a prerequisite in becoming a president, because if you've never worked in your community, if you've never understood what it's like to campaign or to even understand what campaigning means. It's not just like a popularity, like obviously it's a popularity contest, but what are the intricacies of a popularity contest? What are the actual concrete things you should be doing as a candidate? I don't see how, if you did not do those things, how you would even think to be qualified from a perspective of the average American who literally knows nothing about politics.
Yeah, I think there should be a prerequisite to how should I say this? There should be a prerequisite to demonstrate a knowledge of the land that is not produced through a superficial avenue such as the nightly news. There has to be some real world boots to the ground understanding, tangible effects of actions that underscore your understanding of the populace in more than just your district or the place where you grew up. That country is so vast and so populated and so diametrically opposed in so many different discussions, and each side deserves its understanding of its nuances. And watching that debate was just two old white men bicker about being white men.
Yeah, there was
virtually.
It's impossible to vote based on actual platform now, because there is no platform right now. It's a
shouting match.
It's all about, okay, if you're really asking the American people, who are you going to vote for? They're not voting for a person now. They're barely voting for a party. They're voting against ideals or against things that they're afraid to happen in their communities, because there's no good option. So it's not even that they're voting for the lesser of two evils. They're voting for where they can actually see protection of their rights and of their concerns. Because nobody really wants Joe Biden to be the president. Nobody really wants Trump to be the president. I'm sure there are even Trump supporters who have scaled back, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Who've scaled back. Doesn't mean they won't vote for him. Just means that if you watch the changing tide. It's not ideal. Yeah, there is no ideal, and there will never be an ideal, but people in the past have at least voted for a person because they trust
they have hope.
Obama.
They have belief.
Obama. And all the things, and not saying Obama was perfect. There are many things that he did that were not great, but he at least started things from a place
He initiated positive discussions that led to fruitful things, at least through effort.
Put it this way, there's Obamacare. They were talking about how Obamacare sucks and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's like, what was there before then?
No care.
So how can you discriminate, or how can you judge something so harshly when it didn't even exist before? What he did, if anything, was start the conversation around universal health care, which means that, okay, so what? Obamacare sucks? Fine. He can sit there and go, sure, maybe it sucks. Go make it better.
Yeah, not
at least there's something to improve now, whereas before there was nothing to improve. So,
to add to that, I think because also from a mixture of the expectations being set so low by the president and the presidential nominee, I think the vice presidential debate, although I think it was more substantive, it overshot expectations, which made it even better. Couple takeaways. I could see why Pence was chosen by Trump, because he addresses all of the concerns that that base would have had with him in terms of being erratic, not being certain what his actual goals or wants are. By tying Pence to himself, he could have somebody who could speak on behalf and to the base of the Republican Party. Like he expresses their wants in a calm, cool, and collected way, and you could tell that he's capable of finding a path to actually deliver those wants.
Yeah.
Same goes for Kamala, I'd say.
Whether or not you agree with Mike Pence, or you support him, or you think he's a dick, or whatever it is, it doesn't change the fact that he's way more articulate than most of the people in the White House, including the press secretary, the one who always has to answer about Trump's tweets. He can speak.
He seems to understand.
You might not like what he has to say, but he can speak. He's still respectful of time. Again, you may not like what he has to say. You may not like what he symbolizes or stands for. That doesn't change the fact that he's still more well-spoken and can articulate the party's concerns and the party's views in a more digestible way than any of the other, than Donald Trump himself, obviously.
I find he carries himself very well. If you take away your leanings and your previous track history of either of the people on the screen, you could come away watching that VP debate and thinking Mike Pence is somebody that you could trust to it. Whether you agree with his views, you can trust his judgment on knowing what's important, what's not, and how to handle the job if necessary. You might not agree with his decisions, but you know he will have approached them in a logical way through his own political leanings or whatever, but you can trust his hand at least in being somebody that is present and salient in their understanding of their role.
I think Kamala
same with her.
I think she's very articulate, and she's very calm, and she's very level. Both of them are. Even when it gets heated, they don't actually shout over each other.
Speaking.
They don't.
I'm speaking.
It's still calm.
I'm speaking.
Yeah.
I'm speaking.
It's what, like a calm, I believe, parent would say when they're just, trying to psychologically traumatize you.
Those two came across as presidential.
Very much so.
Absolutely.
And that would be a very interesting presidential run, I think, because they are opposing, but they can speak. So you can actually, as the average American who is not political or who may not follow politics as much, you can listen and understand. That's the whole point. If you can't speak to the general American public, then what even are you trying to do? Because those are the people who are going to vote. If you can get the laziest person who has no idea what's going on to go and vote, you're winning, because that's most of America.
I think that's what America's problem is with getting the vote out, is because all the options don't speak to the voter base's wants. They speak to the voter base's fears. Whereas I feel like in Canada, even though we have our right-left divide, but if anything, we're more of a center divide where there are so many options on the left, and one conglomerate of an option on the right, they've unified in that sense. At one point they weren't, but they've become unified. And I feel like the left is fragmented to only underscore how more left-leaning we are. But that being said, when we go to the polls, I feel like every time I've ever thought about going, or I have gone, it's been because that candidate has said something that I like.
Yeah.
That candidate makes me want to vote because I want them to achieve what they said. Whereas when I watch American politics, I feel like everybody's like, get that guy out versus get this guy in.
Or
and that's the big difference.
You don't want that to happen, so don't vote for that.
Yeah.
Versus you want this to happen, vote for this. And I feel that is true. I agree. In Canada, I can actually find a candidate, whether it's in like my local riding or provincial. Federally, it's harder to cover because it's quite broad. So I feel like a provincial vote is probably closer to what I feel I can see impact in.
Absolutely.
I can vote for, and I can find information easily on what my concerns are. So as a student, when I went to vote as a student, I'm looking for everything and anything having to do with tuition, to do with student debt, to do with benefits for students while you're in school. What does part-time work look like? And there are candidates who will speak exactly to those needs versus pains.
Yeah.
Needs versus pains.
We talk about like when a candidate presents themselves in request of a vote in Canada, I feel like they say, I will strengthen this public service. I will add this to that service. I will lessen this. Like they speak to actual things that you could see are going to affect your life on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And you can be like, you know what? I'm down with that. When I watch America, it really is just a TV show.
Who do you not want to vote for?
It has become
Who's worse?
What, like the political form has transformed into what its main driver is about versus it transforming its occupant into what it should need. The White House hasn't turned Trump presidential. Trump has turned the political process comical. And yeah, it's just, it was never really good down there, but
there's no value anymore.
Worse.
Like if I ever thought that American politics was something to be respected in a sense of its legacy and history and all these types of things,
what it could teach you,
what it could teach you, not because it's good necessarily, but because it has the history and the structure. It's all very invalid. It's all very not of value anymore. Like I'd rather look at other countries' political processes than America's now.
The American political process looks like kind of how like the internet looked like when it was trying to regulate.
It's Craigslist.
Piracy. It's like you are so outdated and far beyond. Like when the candidates, America, you need to hear this from me. Like it's their approach is so outdated. It's like trying to put an 8-track into a PS5 at this point. It's like there are people sitting on the other end of the screens like, what the fuck is this? And it seems so disingenuous and like a game and full of nonsense and comical I just can't wait to see the climax, because who knows if Trump really got that COVID or not. Could be all be a farce. All I know is we're heading towards the last sprint. And the last time we had a nice October surprise with Hillary Clinton and the emails being put back out in public. Who knows what's coming up with this election? It's gonna be fucking entertaining.
Waiting for that CIA dirt to drop.
You know what I'm saying? The October surprise coming soon.
And the next topic is
mask nosers. Fuck you.
What is a mask noser?
It's not exclusively, but usually an immigrant not of Asian descent and or a privileged Westerner who refuses to be told what to do. Fuck you to both of you. All kinds, all shapes and sizes. Fuck you both. And the audacity some of y'all have while looking at people, while they look at you trying to promote shame within your cognitive processes. Processes? Who knows? And you just sit there reluctant to feel the shame. It makes people want to impale you. Like
I don't have as much of a visceral reaction as you do. I mean,
this is Sparta.
I get it. Like now, since our last episode, we were talking about lockdown number 2, and we are back in stage 2, I believe, in Ontario. Quebec has had the most cases it's had in a day. I think about a week ago.
They set records every day
before COVID. Like this is in the first wave, so they had like 1,100 some odd cases in a day.
It's been consistently 1,100 now. 10,000 to 1,100.
The Quebec government is urging people to stay home. They're putting in as many restrictions as they are, so it's not necessarily the government. It is the people who are just not. They're just not doing it.
Even though I'm not in Quebec right now, my heart of prejudice makes me believe that there are more mask offenders there than here, most likely. But I can only speak to, with ocular evidence, these situations that I've encountered here. And all in all, I think it's kind of like police violence, abusive violence. It just takes one rotten apple to ruin the entire batch. It could be 1 to 100. 100 good ones, 1 bad one. But when you see that one bad one, the rage that it imbues within you is so visceral. It's so I don't know. It's so exponential. The feeling. It's just when you see them and like, for example, when we're on the train, this black couple, an older black couple. They look like they're carrying around like garbage bags or garbage suitcases, like they've been collecting cans or something. Like they're probably poor, so they're trying to gather cans. That's what it looked like. Or
they
like,
did not actually look poor. They did not like look.
They looked like they were working the streets.
No, they didn't.
They had like 4 or 5 broomsticks between the two of them.
Yeah, but they're Swiffers.
Without brooms on them.
Those were expensive.
No,
you can detach them.
Yeah, but why? Why are you detaching them? You're probably building forts and huts and stuff. Who knows? But
Probably just detaching them so they can fit in the bag.
But where are you taking them?
To clean.
To clean what?
The world.
Yeah, exactly. Hobos, like I said.
See, they did not look like hobos.
Well, whatever. Not a potential wife. She's obviously a good example, a direct example for her partner to see of how to adorn yourself with your mask. Hers is right there, you know, covered. And she kept on adjusting, making sure she was good. While this fucking idiot man beside her, nostrils the size of Mario to the 3rd power, this man's mask is like this.
Mario the singer.
It's like this, covering his chin. And he's just looking at people. And then he had the fucking audacity. The man's about to fucking yawn. This idiot does this. Lord help me. Lord fucking help me. I want to fucking give him a Liu Kang kick straight to his fucking head. Leave it pressed in too. What's that movie that you watched with the Asian woman who had the cigarette?
Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah. Just give him one of them type of beatings where it just seems so impossible but comical at the same time. But you could tell that he's felt it, at least in his acting. You could tell that he's felt it. But my goodness gracious. And then you look to the right. It's the next fucking man. The mask is like is like flirting with his fucking nostril tip. It's flirting. It's like the wind from his nose can make it flirt. You can see it. It's just like, fuck you too. Then you go to the right, you see this old fat white man. He's not even caring about reaction. His mask is right here. He's just woman to the left, looking out the window, she looked like she lived on fucking Hastings. Like young or college, let's say. Same thing. It's the ones who have nothing to lose that appear to, or the ones who believe they have nothing to lose that are the largest mask offenders. And they deserve a holistic fuck you. Holistic. You know what I'm saying? That's my rant on mask nosers.
Yeah.
You got anything to add to the mask?
I don't have as much of an entertaining rant. I will say I just don't understand it. Like, what's the point? What is the point? Everybody says, you know, when we were on our flight back to Vancouver most recently, the mask or the flight attendants were on the intercom like 3 times saying, can you put your mask over? The proper protocol is to wear your mask covering your nose and your mouth. Like, they said it 3 times.
No, like on Seth Meyers, like he has his list of, you burnt!
Yeah.
And then there's like sideburn. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the fat flight attendants on Flair.
This is deviating from this topic. We are not having a sideburn because they wear their masks properly.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about them.
Yeah. That's deviating from mask nosers. Let's stay on topic.
They were interesting. I tell you, it's going to be a part of my stand-up comedy. I've added them in. I have a theory. I'm just going to toss my theory out there. If you guys want to add comments to this theory later on, feel free.
Yeah, all the people who watch
all 5 of you
are going to add comments on you talking about fat flight attendants.
Why not? Some people can't handle me, but fine, fuck them. Now, here is what I'm saying. I believe that there can be a quantifiable, we can prove this through quantifiable means if we had the resources to study such a frivolous endeavor. That the richer or the higher quality of airline that you fly on can be deduced by the amount of slim or slimmer flight female attendants and or gay men flight attendants. The higher ratio of skinny women and gay men lends to a higher quality airline. Now, when you start getting into the lower rungs, that's when you get the big bowling balls that hit you on the shoulders as they go through the aisle because they can't turn sideways or face forward because they're just circular and too big. You have those, and you get your So that's to judge the female spectrum of it. But when you go on the gay spectrum of it, when you start losing male gay queens or whatever they're called, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the term is. I'm not trying to be offensive, but just accurate. Like the ones who are like divas, whatever they're called within your community. You guys let me know, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my god!
And then, but then you slide down the flight attendant gay scale of quality, and you get like probably like Bertha, who flies out to Saskatchewan to like munch rugs on her like work benefits through Flair. So like that's your scale of like women flight attendant and gay flight attendant. If you have large people in general and or non-attractive gays, you're probably on Flair.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
What?
I have no comments on this matter.
That's fair.
Apart from, I will say that every gay flight attendant that I've had on a flight is fucking fantastic.
I agree.
They are friendly. They are real. They will throw shade at lame ass passengers. They will attend to you as much as they can. They'll give it to you straight if they cannot fulfill a request, if you're being too extra. They are very, very friendly, let me say. They do the best on the intercoms.
You want gay flight attendants, but the ones that are really, really happy about their life and the job that they have and their employer, like the Air Canada ones.
Generally, you want people who are happy about their jobs, because the worst is if you get a bowling ball that hates being on Flair because they didn't make it onto Air Canada or Cathay Pacific.
What I'm saying.
But if you get a happy bowling ball, that makes all the difference.
Happy is always preferred, but you tend to not get bowling ball flight attendants who are happy. You tend to not to. We had a unicorn this time. She was great. Bertha was great. Probably wasn't her real name, but Bertha was great. She had frosted blonde tips. She was large. She was in charge. She had pants.
I didn't have to agree that she had pants.
Hey, she was like a pantsuit wearer, you know? She was like, hey! Losing the crotch in my pants. Sit down! Like, she had that type of
also
demeanor,
the gender fluid, sexually fluid boarding attendant at Fort McMurray was also awesome.
Yes.
Very...
No issue with orientation, just an acknowledgement that it is noticed within the air services.
I just don't like assholes.
Living your best summers, you're like, what's that word? Hot girl summers all across the world with your free flights. Who knows? Maybe you're like Denzel, where you fly away and get fucked up on booze, but instead you fly and get fucked up on like genitalia. Who knows? Maybe that's the entire purpose of being a flight attendant.
Hoes in different area codes?
Yeah.
It's like you just figured this out.
No, I didn't just figure it out, but I'm just saying it seems very, very concrete from a hypothesis, not being one, you know?
Anyways, mask nosers.
Yeah, fuck you. There's a few of them on flights. And I try to, like, we've taken a few flights now. I try to not be the overt attention, the overtly bringing attention to the mask nosers. But I always like make strong eye contact with the flight attendants to the point where it's creepy, where they have to engage to inquire, why is he looking at me this long? And then I point my eyes towards the issue. And they always catch on, like, sir, please sit up. Mask on, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You smize with your eyes.
You do not smize. You shame. You shaze. You shies. He shames with his eyes.
I'm speaking.
Shies.
I'm speaking.
Third topic.
Put a ring on it.
Okay.
Why not? So, I put a ring on it. It's a good time.
Holy shit. Oh, God. He does the dance.
I think I do. At least the upper part.
Yes.
So.
We got engaged.
Indeed. She's my fiance now. She has to own this. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Just do it. Keep the ring in and, you know.
No.
I'll find you. Oh, it's scary.
Indeed.
He's like Chucky.
There you go. Or that girl from The Wedding Crasher. Wherever you go, I'll find you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Vince Vaughn. Yeah.
That's the better type, you know? Chucky is just scary, period. There's no benefit to that type of crazy. You're looking for the benefit?
No, that's what I'm saying. You're Chucky.
Don't worry about them things, man. Shite, man. So, there was a plan set in motion. It began a long time ago in the loins of our parents.
Don't start there. Start more immediate. Start when did you start thinking about doing this? When did the actual plan get set in motion? When did you know you wanted to ask? Whatever.
So, my life is quite the complex existence as I have created it to be. And before I make any concrete decisions of any nature, as I've grown older, I've decided to become more cautious and appropriate with my explicit and large decisions. And once things begun to stabilize in all areas, I was anxious, to say the least, to begin the process to fortify other areas of my existence.
What in the actual fuck?
I always wanted, but I wanted to make sure that I did it appropriately and that it was the right way and it could be embraced as such. So I began the process with her best friend. She is a first generation fob. We call Javier.
Bardem, Mr. Bardem, or Javi.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Javi for sure. Yeah. Whoa, man.
All that good stuff. And I asked her to assist me with narrowing down my options of a ring option. So I wanted to make sure the person who knew her the best could advise me on how to adorn her finger for the rest of her life. So after I whittled it down to 2 options, I had her choose between both, and she agreed with my choice and went with the solitaire 0.59 carat VVS diamond with the knife edge band. See that? Knowledge. You get a fucking lesson on ring architecture when you are buying a ring for an engagement. At least you should. At least you should, unless you're just spending money and say, I'll take that one. There's a lot of details to go into it. But so I started to have a team approach by involving her best friend and her best friend's husband to make sure that he'd be ready to videotape the occurrence. So we started planning that about a month and a half ago in August. Yes, August. Then once the ring was ready to be purchased, we included our close family friends here in Toronto to have the ring shipped to them. So this way we could avoid her finding a ring at the door. That's pretty important. And also, before involving them in the purchase, I also spoke with her mother and got her mother's blessing. Then spoke to her second oldest sister and got her blessing. Then spoke to her oldest sister and prayed for her blessing and got it. Keyword prayed for it. And then the planning as to where it would occur was set into motion. But I always had a plan. It was to have it done in front of all of her close family and friends so she could share in the moment and feel confident knowing that they all approve of her choice, if she chooses to make it. As my friend Danny said to me in congratulations, like, good job getting it done sooner than later, before she smartens up. Something like that. He said along those lines. It is definitely a win in my column. Definitely a win in my column. I am satisfied to put a ring on it, darling. And so this kind of tips into mask nosers. We saw the fucking primary mask nosers of this episode on the train while going to get it resized. So I got a chunky size. I want to make sure it got on there. Hot dog down hallway style, you know?
Because he thought that I had thicker fingers than him.
I don't know why.
Okay, the ring that he gave me was 7.5. And I'm at a 5.
Yes. But with the ring purchase, you could go up to a 7.5 without it costing extra in terms of the amount of gold that you have to pay for. So we still get excess gold, which we can melt down into whatever we choose to create in the future. So, better safe than sorry. What's the word I'm thinking for? Measure twice, cut once.
That's the word he was thinking for.
Yes. Yeah, the phrase. Fuck you, alright? Fuck you, huh? Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Don't worry about that. Cool as a cucumber.
That's the last thing I said to you before I went upstairs.
Indeed, yes.
So we should talk about the actual. No, maybe talk about your like little hiccups. Your think fast.
Yeah. So I had a couple. So everybody that I spoke to about getting their approval was done covertly, but her eldest sister decided to message her as soon as we confirmed the time to meet. Say, "Oh, I'm meeting Yannick." I'm like, you're like, "Oh, you're meeting my sister? Wow!" I'm like, "Yeah. I'm still going to fix my storage issue though out in South Surrey. I just figured to do that at the same time, so I had to cover that up because it's like, why you meeting my sister? But at least I had the out of she didn't like me, so I was just trying to make peace. But the whole goal was to make peace and get her approval after getting peace. So got that accomplished, but was able to covertly just stare it towards. Oh, I was just trying to make some family
Shout
growth.
out to my sister.
Indeed. And then so also after ordering the ring, I got a phone call from the ring manufacturer telling me, "Oh, so we received the diamond and it's brown. So obviously we're going to fix this. We've chosen another diamond. We're going to send you some information about it, and you can tell us if it's okay to move forward. But just, take a look at that, and then we'll move forward because we see you have a time here that you need it by. So we'll definitely get that worked on." But when I got the call, my phone was connected to Bluetooth in the bathroom because I play music. And when I came out, it's nothing but the Bluetooth connected. Music's done, and all yours, dun, 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 call from Los Angeles. Dun, 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 dun. Call from Los Angeles. I'm like, who the fuck is calling me from Los Angeles? And it can't be something that I can answer for sure because I don't have nothing going on in Los Angeles. It's probably the ring people. So then I get off speaker answer. He's like, yeah. He starts telling me all these things about the ring. I'm like, oh, nice. Yeah, sure. Send it over. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you very much. So I have to now find time to review a diamond certificate, a 3-dimensional image of a diamond to view its fluorescence and see if I'm okay with the structure of the diamond and whether or not it actually ranks as a VVS, while we share a 500 square foot apartment. Try searching for ring options across the globe in a 500 square foot apartment without being caught.
But I'm always in there.
Yeah, well, in general, let's say you walk around the corner and there's rings on my screen. What's my answer? I just like rings. And then because of all the searching that I did, which I did in private browsing, which I thought would avoid it being...
The fact that you even thought of that is funny.
I tried everything. And then fucking Google, trying to fucking tell everybody your business, starts populating my screen with ads of diamonds all day long. I'm just hitting like dismiss for like 3 months. Oh, sorry, three weeks. And then I'm like, she's probably seen these ads also. So then one day I start seeing the fucking spoon ads. I'm like, I ain't searching for no spoons. So I ask her, have you been searching for spoons? Yes. So in my head, I'm like, she's definitely seeing all these ring ads at this point.
Okay, mind you, I search for the most redonkulous things to buy. As you know. Yes. I look at the weirdest shit. Yes. AKA spoons.
Yes. So that was, I thought I was fucked there. Then she starts asking me, you've been really cheap lately. Like, ask me, hey, sweet, do you want to order like a $5 meal? We need it?
As if he thinks he's gonna buy it. Like, I would obviously buy it, but I was wondering. That's why I was wondering. That to me was weird that you would say no to things I'm obviously gonna buy, which is like.
I was just being cautious. Rings ain't cheap. Rings ain't cheap. So then another call comes in from the ring ships. FedEx has it. They send it into the country, but it has to clear customs. So now I got to pay the duties on this ring through customs. But they call me to say, no, I have to call them to pay the customs. So I'm like, hey, I'm just calling you guys. I got a message. Yeah, sir, can you confirm the shipping address of the package? The package is going to our friend's house at a different house. Where if I say, yeah, this package is going to yada, yada, yada at such and such, it'd be like, so you're shipping stuff to our friends? Why? It would have been a very dead giveaway. So he starts asking me to confirm the address. I'm like, can't. He's like, sir, I just need you to confirm the address, then we can move forward with paying. can't. Sorry, can't. He's like, but sir, I need you to. Yeah, can't. Is there any other way? No, sir. You have to just you just have to confirm. Can't. I just can't.
Well, how did you confirm it then?
I didn't. I didn't. Like, can't. So then I got into that group chat that I have with the other 4 participants in this process. Like, please, here's my credit card number. Here's a picture of the front, back of my credit card. Here's the address. Here's my name on my credit card. Please contact FedEx. Say this is the address. Pay the duty. Please, thank you very much. Get it done. Done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 41 did a good job. Did a good job and forwarded me the receipt that was sent to him. So I had the information, and then I had to go there and pick it up while going shopping for these jogging pants as a diversion, so I could get out of the house without, since we are joined at the hip at all times. Picked it up from their house, brought it home, hid it in my luggage until we had to leave.
When did it get shipped there?
No.
But when did it arrive?
The first day that I was going to go get it, I couldn't because he was going to go hang out with his daughter and son.
And I went to her.
Yeah, so I couldn't go there and get it.
But you were going to the bakery. You're going to meet your friend for baking.
Yeah, but I would have gone there after to pick it up, but we decided
so it was
that
already there.
Yes.
Oh, for like a week.
Yes.
Oh.
Indeed. So then, I eventually got the ability to pick it up on the Saturday. Hid it in my luggage for a while. Then, when we got to your house, since I got on the flight first, I was able to get home to your mother's house and let her hold on to it for the entire week. So she was storing it. And then when we left the proposal, she put it on the couch so I could grab it. And when it didn't happen on that day, took it back, hid it very cautiously. But then when we had to leave to actually do it on the Tuesday, since I couldn't have a ring box in my pocket, because you'd be like, what the fuck's in your pocket? I had to...
And he doesn't have a Merce.
No, so I had to put the package with my package. And let's just say that the car ride there, every abrupt stop, I had one of the angles hitting me in a couple of my boys. In one or two of my boys. It was very like, it's not easy to fit a ring box of this size in your underwear without it being visible. So you gotta like really like sit on it like you're a hen fucking raising eggs or something.
You're lucky that your shirt's untucked and that the tuck goes under, because you know what's funny?
No, I have to wear my pants low.
I just realized
I have to wear them
this.
low so I can have the excess room.
I looked at your crotch because I always look at your crotch. But
Lovely.
I looked at your crotch because I thought your fly was undone.
Interesting.
I thought your fly was undone. I remember doing that. And
I just had to make sure there's enough space so it sat. It would have been a bulge if I did this. It would have been like, why are you bulging? Like, do you have testicular cancer? Like, it would have been odd. So then once you went upstairs, once we arrived, is when I went into the bathroom, retrieved the package from the package.
So yeah, my best friend and obviously my other good friend, her sister, we grew up together since me and my best friend were 5, Amanda, and her sister Abby. With the 3 of us went upstairs so that we could choose an outfit to have a photo shoot with Amanda and Jigs's new baby girl. And I was like, sweet. Like, had no idea. This is very normal. I feel like this is something we would do as 3 people together. So we went upstairs, and Amanda was very, like, exuberant, which I thought, that's kind of weird. But I think it's because she had a little sip of wine, which she hadn't had in a year. But I didn't realize that it was because this was going to happen. Amanda gets super excited. Like, she doesn't hold back. So
she knew what was coming. That must have been really nerve-wracking for her.
Yeah. Apparently, we were only supposed to be up there for 3 minutes. Now, who in their right mind thinks you can pick an outfit for a little baby girl in 3 minutes when you have literally a giant mountain of laundry? And I was looking through everything, and I was folding all the clothes, and Amanda kept rushing me, and I thought that was weird. She's like, oh, come on, just like whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I guess we're just going to go with the outfit that you already laid out because you don't want me to choose something and you don't want me to fold the clothes. So she took the outfit. She started walking outside. Abby already left. And then she turned the lights off, which I thought was the most odd
Like, you're
thing.
done in here. Get out. Let's go.
Yeah, like she really turned the lights off, and I'm like, she turned the lights off in the room first, and I was like, damn, she really doesn't want me to fold these clothes. Then she turned the lights off in the hallway, like in the main area going down the stairs, and I was like, Amanda, I can't see. I actually said it out loud. I'm like, Amanda, why'd you turn the lights off? I can't see. I'm gonna fall. And then I just kept like watching her go down, because in my whole head I'm thinking, oh, we're gonna change the baby. So I wanted to change the baby because I wouldn't have. This is our last night. Then I think I heard our song first.
Indeed.
Which is
Bones by Michael Kiwanuka.
And I heard that, and then I saw you, and I was like,
oh boy.
very speechless. Did not expect it at all. Like I can't stress enough that I did not expect this to occur.
Indeed.
And then he said his one line.
I had a whole lot more in mind, but then I couldn't really form speech.
Yeah.
It's quite the emotional process.
It is.
So then she said yes, and then she avoided fainting while I held her.
So I was like, I'm gonna have a panic attack. I'm hyperventilating.
Indeed. And then when she was done that, brought her closer into the center of the room so she could see that other friends had filed in from the back who were hiding in the backyard. Because we had planned to have them come in while she was upstairs. So they filtered in. And then everybody was present for this special moment.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It was great.
Bon job. And that's how you put a ring on it. Okay.
And finally,
maximizing COVID investments.
So we have been talking about, and this is before the engagement, we've been talking about investing in property somewhere. We are open to many places, but we are looking more actively in Vancouver. However, we have been discussing Ontario, possibly in Hamilton, a bustling...
Not Quebec.
Definitely not Quebec.
I ain't tying myself to that fucking place no more than I already did.
Anyways, yeah, from what we're hearing from a lot of people, we have friends in real estate, we have friends who have just invested in real estate during COVID. We know a lot of homeowners who are talking or selling or getting my mom's selling her place, getting their places appraised. And so it's looking like the market is pretty decent for investing at the moment, which means we gotta look.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So, your mom brought up something that is true to think of. If we don't need to add risk to our investment, a rental property might not be the wisest, considering how COVID is right now and guaranteed rental income is not a thing.
Yeah.
So carrying costs would not be fun, even if it's for 1 to 2 months. That could be debilitating to our finances. So your friend Celine had brought up something that we weren't actively engaged in, which was looking at pre-sale home purchases, where the difference between a pre-sale and, let's say, just a normal sale, we could get away with a 5% down on a normal sale versus a pre-sale where you got to get between 15 to 20% down payment over an 18-month period. But that being said, living in that, once you've committed that much down payment to a property, taking a lateral or a diagonal movement upward becomes more seamless because you've done the initial hard lift of that large lump sum down payment for any transition to the next house. So that might be a good way to start. If we not ball hard, but grind hard over the next year or so, we should be able to accrue the necessary funds to get something that we can tolerate for 1 to 3 years. A nice area close to a hockey rink in Vancouver to save me on gas money and make sure I'm less flubby and flabby moving forward. I need to get back on the ice. It's been too long. I miss it. And if we live near a community center like Hillcrest or Trout Lake, I can get on that ice twice a week. Lord. Oh, I'm having joy gas. I'm just thinking about it. As you can see. Actually, can I see her picture up there? No. But it's a guy lacing up his hockey skates. It's a very, very important photograph. Very, very important photograph. But yeah, I think that for me would be people are like, oh, I need in-suite laundry. For me, if we have a hockey rink nearby, that could be a deal closer.
Lucky for you. the places I chose are near that, but the hockey rinks that I would want to live near are expensive. So
Yeah.
I want to live near Hillcrest. I want to live near Queen Elizabeth Park. I don't mind living near Trout Lake, but there are less things available near Trout Lake at the moment. There's lots near Queenie. It's just a matter of money.
Yes.
It's literally just a matter of money because I have an ideal area that I want to live in.
I have an ideal price.
I understand that there are limitations on price, but I figure if at least we know what the prices are like right now, we can aim for that at the point at which we decide to purchase. So I prefer to hit as many, tick as many things on the checklist as we can on the first go. Because if we're only going to live there for 1 to 3 years after, obviously we don't have to tick all the boxes. But our resale value will be that much better.
Indeed. But we don't want to be house poor.
No, we won't be house poor. We won't be house poor.
Yeah.
But again, you might not get everything that you want. I might not get everything that I want, depending on the price.
1 bedroom plus den or a 2 bedroom is ideal. And if it can stay in the $500,000 range, that would be ideal.
This guy's talking about Vancouver.
It would be ideal. Just saying, ideal.
I think we could get a 1-bed den for that. I don't think we'll get 2.
Yeah, that's what I think also. But still,
we'll try. Yeah. We'll try.
Indeed.
And we've only looked at pre-sales. We haven't actually contacted our friends connected through. We're basically like this whole conglomerate of people connected to my best friend, Amanda.
Filipinos all connected, then there's me.
Yeah, but we stick together.
There you go.
And they're very, very smart with real estate.
Indeed.
They are the owners of Lee's Donuts in Vancouver, which is obviously a local staple.
Steaks.
And they're just very well. And Armando's Meats in Granville Island.
Indeed. Gotta do some collaborations via Treats and Lee's Donuts.
Yep.
Hopefully
that'd be
in the
amazing.
Future.
Yep. So there's lots of good expertise that we can lean on to make sure that we purchase the right thing, invest in the right thing.
Indeed.
For the right timing.
Yes. And since we'll be here for another year, it's kind of a good way to start the process of getting ready to be there. So once we return, there's kind of like a place for us versus arriving there and then trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
So, or
at least we know, let's say we choose some place to rent because our pre-sale isn't created yet or whatever that is. At least we know it's only for a prolonged amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's not like I can tolerate living somewhere that's maybe not as expensive or bougie as I would normally like in a rental because I know that it's leading to, so after a year or 2 years, we'll be okay.
This is kind of a good segue to point out how there are ways to maximize COVID. Like at this time, COVID has created many negatives, but it's created situations that if attacked or approached appropriately can be positives, like the lower cost of rental units right now. So if we have to do a pre-purchase that isn't ready for us, we might have access to a rental unit that actually satisfies our 1 to 3 year needs at a cost that we can afford while we still are investing in something that might let's say they might reduce the down payment from 20 to 15% to attract more investors due to COVID. So there are little things, although it's easy to say these things when you have the resources, because they say the first million is the hardest and it takes money to make money. And fortunately for us, we're in positions that we've put ourselves in to be able to contemplate these decisions. But it's just, everything is just scale, I guess. There are benefits and luxuries to be had from the ramifications of COVID in all walks of life. You just got to find them and find a way to make them work for you. COVID's going to work for itself. Find a way to make it work for you also.
Yeah. And I mean, that being said as well, we're very fortunate. There are other people who have been hit really hard by COVID who don't have jobs,
food,
housing, rent, not
mental
being
health.
able to, losing family members or losing close friends to actually COVID. So we're very lucky that stuff hasn't happened to us and that, we've just visited with lots of family and friends you're in contact with your family, friends on the East Coast. Everyone is still healthy and doing well, and in good spirits considering everything.
Indeed.
And that we can do something like get engaged in COVID times and still be able to
Not let it stop our lives, and not even let it hinder our lives. Find ways to work with the new normal, however one must, and make the most of
the
it.
new normal.
The new normal. The new normal. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's-
So that's episode 11, which
Indeed.
is called
West Coast bias.
Why?
Because everything that I love resides from there or comes from there. For the most part, everything's there. Muchas gracias. Mm-hmm.
And we're done.
There you go.